Hi guys, welcome to a normal Gears of War 3 commentary. Finally managed to get my capture card working again, which is really good. And what I'm going to be talking to you about today is my thoughts on Gears Ultimate Edition. Because it's been highly controversial topic among Gears fans recently, due to the, I'd say, unsuccessful release, and how that affects Gears heading into Gears of War 4. So the start of the thing is, everyone's going to use the Nasher. And the problem with the Nasher is, it's inconsistent. The gun doesn't work correctly. The aiming is different, but they say that's because it's a Gears 1 remake, even if it is, in my opinion, not very true to Gears 1. It's not very true to Gears 1, it's got the maps, it's got the campaign, but it just doesn't really seem like GOW 1. It seems a bit like GOW 3. The aiming is a lot like Judgment with the center screen, which makes the Nasher even more consistent, but that's not thing. Apparently the damages were copy and pasted. From what I heard, I saw a tweet saying the damage values were copy and pasted from the original GOW one, which really, I guess they really wanted to make it kind of seem like a remaster. But the sponging on the game is real, and you might just be saying I'm missing my shots. Well, when I've got my gun literally inside the guy, I cannot be missing my shots. When you shoot people when they're down, it's inconsistent. The Lancer, it was a bit OP in Gears 1, but in this game it doesn't really work unless someone's picking up a gun. The Lancer is highly ineffective, which I can't really believe the damage value is copy and pasted there. Another thing that they've actually updated, which I believe was for the best, except it was a bit OP, were the grenades, which was the throwing on Gears 1 was really awkward. It would only really go at a downward arc, which they changed, which was a really good change. I think that was one of the better changes in the game. That was a nice clip. And of course I tried the triple. The grenades were a thing really well. One thing I want to bring up now, seeing as I just got that double talk, is the range on that gun. It was massive. Like, if you stuck someone, it was really easy to get a quad. Although I really hated the talk in the game, but that's probably just me because I can't aim with it. I prefer my GOW 3 talk because of obviously the different aiming. So that's the talk. The snipe is actually, for the first time, I think, in a Gears game, with the exception of Judgment, I actually preferred it to the talk, but that was because it was incredibly easy to use, because of, there was no recoil when you got shot, so you could just basically, stand there shot in the face, and you could easily adjust your aim to hit the enemy. The blind fire was obviously like the original GOW one. It wasn't like Judgment in that case, it didn't go always straight. It just went like kind of an upward arc. Blind firing isn't as easy as Judgment, but it's a lot easier than Gears 3. It isn't actually pretty much luck where the shot goes, which I feel was an improvement, as it did make the sniper actually feel like everyone goes for the sniper just for clips, but as a normal power weapon in an MLG situation, like on checkout, I've experienced scrims and not many people would go for the sniper, they'd go for the frag grenades or another weapon on the map. The sniper wasn't a power weapon, but in this game I believe it was a power weapon, even if the removal of active downs, which was a really good thing. Even if they did call it a remaster, that was an incredibly good thing. One thing I disliked about the game when they called it a remaster was you couldn't it wasn't like the game selecting, you couldn't select 19 round execution, which I really liked when I played the game, because when I played the game before release, with GOW 1 before release, I liked the 19 round ability. And that just wasn't in the game, which I felt was a bit of a disappointment, but oh well. What haven't I covered yet? The snub, it seems to have been depowered, you could hit headshots within quicker shots, and I think you could fire it faster, but I guess that's a good thing, because it would be better though, because it'd make up for the Lancers, how should I put this, useful. It would help up with the Lancers' uselessness. One thing in the game, although I'm sure this was in Gears 1, I just didn't notice it because I only played with the people who had played since like 2006, obviously when that scrubby to melee. But the melee, it is so inconsistent, it is so broken. That is one of the main gripes I have about the game, the melee. 2 hit downs, it stuns you for incredibly too long. GOW 3 had it probably perfect with the 1 second stun pretty much, but on this it's like 2 seconds. It's allowing for easier 2-piecing, especially with the sniper and shotgun. And especially when they're stunned, you could just like go behind them and melee them again, so they have no chance to pull a shot off. Even with the pistol, it stuns you a lot. What's next on the list? I don't like. Oh my god, that's one thing I don't miss. Flight grenades. I don't like they deleted King of the Hill from the game and removed a lot of the other playlists, like Assassination, I guess, so yes, that was the game mode that probably shouldn't have been in the game, but they have King of the Hill on Blitz, but you don't have Annex, and you're still calling this a Gears 1 remake, even though you don't have Annex in the game, which is basically King of the Hill, except if you're not capturing the ring, the ring doesn't lose points, you have to get the full 80 out of the ring, or I think it's 60, I can't remember, it's been a long time since I played Annex. I only remember the GOW 2 one. That wasn't in the game. King of the Hill was removed because they would rather have Blitz, which it's an okay game mode, but it's not King of the Hill. It's no King of the Hill. It's basically you just walk into the ring, instantly captured, even with one person, and someone has to stand in the ring to gain points, which is, in my opinion, it makes for good teamwork, but it also makes the game a bit boring, because no one wants to just stand in the ring. They want to go out and defend, like make proper defensive, which could make better for competitive than Blitz, because it requires a lot more defense. And plus you have to have one person standing at the ring, which leaves you a man down when you're getting 4 pushed on a map like Gridlock through the sniper, for example. Okay, so that's shotgun game modes. Oh god, no. What's next on the agenda? The classic Hammer Burst. Well, Hammer Burst in the game seems to be a bit OP, but not many people seem to pick it up, which I feel is some people are actually missing out, because when I use the gun on a map like Gold Rush, it's pretty good. Speaking of Gold Rush, some of the maps in the game, just because it was a Gears 1 remake, they put in the game, like Bullet Marsh, for example, Rooftops. They were only in the game because it's a Gears 1 remake. Even though Bullet Marsh is probably one of the worst maps in Gears, because there's no way down to Boom Shot from, well, where Incense is on this game. And it switches up with Torque, and the Krill are in a lot more random places. It's not just in the generator area. Like, you don't even have to shoot the generator and there'll be Krill around in certain areas, which doesn't make it for good when you're trying to go for a clutch or something. One thing I would like to add, just to seeing smokes getting thrown, is the smoke is a lot more thick, which makes it a lot more tactical. It may not have a stun, but it's incredibly thick, so it's got good thickness, which makes for good abilities, not being able to see through the smoke, even with TACCOM on. I mean, look, that's Sponge though by Cole. He just got supered. And there's got to be some animal addressed. 2v2 boxes. That was a game mode that was really good. It felt really new, and it felt like it should have been in Gears for a long time ago. like a proper 2v2 competitive, like game battle sort of thing, which will definitely be in Gears 4 for sure. If they don't put that in, then they're really stupid. That was one of the more Coalition's better ideas. One thing I've forgotten to address is the response to fans, like the King of the Hill removing. The response to fans, like they're ignoring the complaints on the forums. If you go on the forums right now, it's incredibly toxic. Like, people are really complaining. The Coalition don't seem to be doing anything about it, which is just basically what Epic did and why one of the reasons why Gears 3 Gears Judgment wasn't that good, or should I say, like, why it didn't work for a lot of people, because it wasn't nothing to do with Gears. No one listened. Chucky grenades. One thing I felt was a bit awkward was the chainsaw. It didn't feel OP, but like it kind of revved up a bit too quick. However, it was incredibly easy to stop, and what was basically essentially once you got shot from a chainsaw while revving it up, it took you a while to actually rev it up again, which can either be seen as a good thing or bad thing depending on what kind of player you are. I think a lot of people, reason why people do it is because the fucking shotgun doesn't work half the time. The campaign, I think I'm one of the very few that didn't like some of the changes that were made. Like, the extra chapters were really awesome. I really like the new chapters, which I played with SG Avenge on Insane, where I've never played them before, which was really interesting, especially the Brumat battle. It was really difficult. It wasn't the most difficult of a Gears game, but it was one of the most difficult. Probably second to I think it was Mirror on this. But I didn't like some of the cutscene changes they put in the game. I felt like a lot of the emotion was taken out, although they say they put more of it in. I still believe they put less of it in. And yeah. So there's my thoughts on Ultimate Edition, guys. All in all, it's not that good of a game. I don't think the shotgun, it overwrites everything that's good about the game. The negatives outweigh the positives, shall I say? That's probably a better way of putting it. The shotgun not working. The fact the Coalition haven't listened to anyone on the forums. The game had potential, but the problem is that was a 9-year-old game. It was fresh. That's why everyone liked it. It was new. It was fresh. It was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. And now you play it 9 years later when you've had a better game like Gears 3 with better aiming, better consistency. It doesn't work in a 2015. It only works in 2006 environment when you've never seen a Gears game before. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on UE, guys. Tell me what you thought, if you thought of UE, or what you think of UE if you haven't played it yet, in the comments. And I guess I'll see you next time. Bye bye.